starts. It should start. I still have the stream key, so it should, there you go. You're kicking in. All right. You're up and running too, so we got you going on your channel as well as ours. So we can do this the same way as before. Now, Robert, remember when we start, okay, say hi, welcome everybody, and then ask me to read the first topic, okay? And then after we read the first topic, then you get into your discussion, okay?
Okay.
And make sure that it's focusing on the topic that's being read. Like, if you...
What is the topic?
Well, it's telekinesis.
Okay.
So just, if you don't have anything to say, you ask everybody else what their thoughts are on what I just read. And if nobody else has anything to say, then just have me read the next topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've got everything up and going. It should be good to go. Let me test the audio. First I got to start the streams on mine too.
Yeah, you might want to check on what happened last time.
Well, YouTube is started up, so we've got that one. It's starting up on Kick now, and I believe we have Kick, or it's starting up on Rumble, and I believe we have Kick going. So let me test the audio there, see if it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good on Rumble. Kick is still acting finicky. I'm gonna end up having to do with this like I did with D-Line, just kick it. Okay, there we go. It's running. Especially considering I can't do that whole state ID crap. Like I feel very, very unsettled about that. They want to use your state ID for freaking verification.
For what site?
Kick.
Okay.
You know. So, okay, let me do the countdown, and then I'll do the introduction for you as the host or the announcer, and I'm gonna hand it over to you, Robert. Okay.
Okay. Remember how you did it that one time?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Well, yeah, but I mean with the. Okay.
It'll sound good. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, now.
Hi.
Good. Oh, Robert. Okay, I got to delete that. I'm going to start over. No, it's like I said every time. Okay, let me start out first. Then I introduce. Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm not going to say something.
Oh, okay.
This is actually on my stream too, so it's. God.
Start.
Yeah. Let me delete that. I gotta go into OBS and delete it so that we don't have that in there whenever I have to go edit. Okay, let's do this again. 3, 2, 1, now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us, whether you're watching live or catching the replay later. Tonight we'll be discussing several topics that Robert has been looking forward to sharing. We'll take them one at a time, giving each topic the attention it deserves before moving on to the next. If you're new to the channel, we're glad you're here and we hope you'll enjoy the conversation. Now, here's my brother and tonight's host, Robert Hanson.
How you doing, everyone? I'm glad that you're here. The conversation, I hope it's very, very good for everyone. Um, we're going to be wanting to know how the the telekinesis, how it works, uh, and how it progresses. You know how people have to, how they deal with the process of the abilities of the mind, the mindset of them, and the how how the body has to adapt to when the process does.
Do you want me to read the topics?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Now, let me get to the first topic. Uh, Telekinesis basically is also called psychokinesis and is a claimed psychic ability to move or change psychic objects using only the mind without any physical touch. Now, mainstream science classifies it as pseudoscience because controlled tests lack repeatability, reliable evidence, and after decades of parapsychology studies failed to show real-world proof under strict lab controls. The human brain, according to physics limits, doesn't generate physical energy fields strong enough to move matter. They also talk about tricks and illusions, where stage magicians show that apparent demonstrations rely on hidden air currents, static electricity, or sleight of hand. Now, in popular culture, according to the fictional staple, it's seen common in movies, comic books, and shows like Stranger Things or Star Wars. On the creative scope, there's fictional telekinesis, which often stretches to force fields, levitation, or manipulation, or manipulating atomic structures. Now, that is what it generally is classified as if you go and you look at it at the scientific level. But then you have another guy by the name of Uri Geller, who is an Israeli British performer who became a global celebrity in the 1970s by claiming that he had genuine supernatural powers. Now, while mainstream scientists and magicians considered him an illusionist who used stage magic, Geller also maintained that his mind power is completely real. Now, his most famous claim in historical moments included the signature claim of spoon bending. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but Geller's most famous stunt involved gently rubbing metal spoons, keys, or nails until they visibly softened and bent or snapped in half. He calls this phenomenon the Geller effect. He also did the watch and clock manipulation, where he claimed he can use willpower to restart broken mechanical watches or make the hand of large clocks move faster. He's also had TV magic, where during the 70s television, or during this 1970s television broadcast, he claimed his psychic energy could travel through the screen and bend spoons and fix broken clocks inside viewers' living rooms. So, with him, his claims, his claim according to his original powers, when it came to like the silver spoon, uh, it was called the silver light. And in his earlier books, he claimed that when he was 5 years old, a mysterious sphere of silvery light appeared in his garden, and he believed that this light was an encounter with an extraterrestrial or an alien who gifted him the powers. There was also claims that were made concerning the CIA. He claimed that he was a part of the Stargate project in 1973, where researchers tested Geller for a week at the Stanford Research Institution, which I found out was actually true. And the experiments were part of a secret government program investigating whether the military could use psychic powers. Documents that were declassified years later showed that Geller uh, replicated drawings sealed inside of a separate room, leading researchers to write that he demonstrated his abilities in a convincing and ambiguous manner. Now, according to Geller, he had secret missions where he worked with intelligence agencies like the CIA, Mossad, and the FBI, and he claimed that he used telekinesis to block radar during military hostage rescues, find missing persons, and even erase important computer disks. That caused backlash from the skeptics. Now, on the Carson show back in 1973, there was an incident where Geller appeared on the Tonight Show, which was starring Johnny Carson at the time. And skeptic and the magician James Randi prepared the props so Geller's team couldn't touch them beforehand. Now, deprived of the ability to use standard sleight of hand tricks, Geller sat uncomfortably for 22 minutes, claiming he felt blocked or unable to perform. Now, with the magician census, magicians around the world have demonstrated that all of Geller's feats can easily be replicated using ordinary magic tricks, such as pre-stressed metal or distracting the audience. So that is one example, and I can stop there and talk about that if you guys, and we can talk about that if you want me to, Robert. There's another one too, Nina Kalagina, who is a Soviet that we can talk about later if you want to, but I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, that sounds pretty fascinating, but and for what I've understand about other things, like everyone supposed to have like a field, okay, and for what I've understood, that if you have an ability to manipulate the field around objects and minerals and all that, you can more or less, and it's like focus your mind into into a field to manipulate that other field. Oh, and with electric or molecules, because they have said that if you make molecules do dance and all that, you can control the whatever the, the material, and even like like the periodic table, it works like with that. And if people can understand that, plus if got you understand that you can use however you want to manipulate and control the devices or the minerals in in metals or anything else. What do you think? I'm done. Mitch, you want to say something, Lord Edworthy?
Well, of course, I know if but I remember him from the 80s. But apart from that, I am fairly ignorant about the subject. So, yeah.
Now I remember whenever I was a kid, like he came on TV, and I remember I think he had like a huge like a 2 hour special, didn't he? At one point where he actually did magic tricks and stuff.
And he held the spoon solid, but then he would concentrate on the spoon to make it without using the thumb to press or anything else. But he would use concentration, focus on the spoon to bend it.
And see if you remember correctly too. Like I think he did like a card trick as well, didn't he? Where he could guess the card that you pull out of the hand that you had from a random deck.
Yeah.
Possibly. That's quite a common trick, isn't it?
Yeah. And I remember my grandpa actually, he could do math kind of like that, and I forgot how he did it. But he could start out with a certain number, tell you to multiply it by this, divide it by that, subtract it by this, and then it would always come to the number that he could guess
Okay.
it was. You know, I remember him doing that, and he used to say, "Freaking, it's not that hard of a trick." You know, it's a matter of numbers and being able to freaking do the math, basically. You know, people are really good at that, so. That's what really stuck out to me because I really don't believe bending spoons is technically a part of telekinesis. From what I've been finding out from doing this research for Robert, I guess it is, you know. I mentioned that in the last episode, and Robert was talking about telekinesis. So I figured I would just, you know, go further because that's what he wanted. So I started doing the research, and it actually started getting a lot more interesting. You know what I mean? Because it's more than just this. It really is. It's strange. But if you want me to, I can read the second part about the Soviet woman. If you want me to, Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. This next one is Nina Kolagina, and she was a Soviet housewife and a World War II veteran who became one of the most famous figures in the Cold War parapsychology. Now, unlike Yuri Geller, who was a traveling stage performer, Kalagina's claims were studied behind closed doors by Soviet scientists for over 20 years. Now, her black and white demonstration films shocked Western intelligence agencies, helping to spark a secret psychic arms race between the U.S. and the USSR. Her major claims, experiments, and controversies surrounding them include the object manipulation claims, moving small items. Kalagina was famously filmed sitting at a table and apparently sliding small non-magnetic objects like matchsticks, cigarettes, breadcrumbs, and fountain pen caps across the surface without touching them. Then there's levitating ping pong balls. She claims she could make lightweight objects like ping pong balls hover briefly in the air. Then there was separating inverses. In one famous laboratory test, a raw egg was placed in a saline salt water solution. Using only her mind, she claimed to separate the egg yolk from the egg white and move them to opposite sides of the container. After that, there was the compass spin, which she frequently demonstrated her abilities by making the magnetic needle of the compass spin rapidly in circles just by holding her hands near it. Then there was the frog heart experiment, where on March the 10th, 1970, Kalagina performed her most famous and controversial experiment in a military research lab. Now, the setup is that the scientists removed a living frog's heart and placed it in a solution to keep it pumping, hooked to a machine to monitor its beat. Now, the claim was that after concentrating intensely for several minutes, Kalagina reportedly caused the frog's heart to beat faster, then slower, and then finally stopped the heart completely using only her thoughts. After that, they did a human test where she then tried the same thing on a skeptical human doctor in the room. Now, the experiment was quickly halted when the doctor's heart rate spiked to a dangerous level. Now, in the physical cost of her powers, according to the Soviet researchers and their claims, they claim that Kalagina was not using magic, but rather emitting a real measurable electromagnetic field from her body. They noted that her demonstrations took a massive physical toll on her. Now, her heart rate would spike to an intense 200 beats per minute, and she suffered from severe exhaustion, weight loss, and sharp pains in her back and head after each session. Now, there is the skeptical view as well, where mainstream scientists and professional magicians outside the Soviet Union heavily doubted her claims. They called it rudimentary magic, where magicians like James Randi pointed out that her feats perfectly watched basic sleight of hand trick or match basic sleight of hand tricks. They argue she used tiny invisible magnets hidden on her body to spin the compasses and ultra thin concealed threads of hair to pull the matchsticks in floating balls. Also, they brought up the issue about controlled environment flaws. Skeptics noted that Kalagina was allowed to basically dictate the rules of the test. She was never forced to perform under strict double-blind scientific conditions that would easily prevent cheating. They also called it Soviet propaganda. A lot of historians did. They believed that the Soviet government exaggerated or faked her abilities to trick the United States into wasting money on its own psychic programs. Now, there is the science of the trick. Static electricity happens when certain materials rub together, causing tiny invisible particles called electrons to jump from one object to another. Now, this builds up an electrical charge on an object, just like magnets. Objects with opposite charge pull toward each other, and each object with the same charge pushes each other away. Now, because this force travels through the air, it looks exactly like invisible mind power. Now, how it mimics telekinesis in real life, there are a few classic psychic stunts that rely entirely on static electricity, and that would be the spinning foil umbrella, or the psi wheel. It's a classic beginner telekinesis exercise, and it involves balancing a folding piece of aluminum foil or paper on top of a needle. Now, when you place your hand near it, it spins. People think it's mind power, but your body heat creates tiny rising air currents, and your skin naturally holds a static charge that pulls the light foil towards your fingers. And now, after that, you have what they call the rolling soda can. An illusionist can make an empty aluminum soda can roll across a flat table without touching it. They do this by secretly rubbing an object like a plastic pen or a comb or even their clothing to build up a heavy static charge, then holding it just close enough to pull the can forward. Now, after that, there's the moving matchsticks or paper. Now, just like Nina Kalagina's famous matchstick demonstration, a static charge built up in a person's hand or clothing can easily cause lightweight objects to slide, twist, or flip over a smooth table. Now, the reason why it fools people is because static electricity is a perfect cover or fake telekinesis because it is completely silent and invisible. Now, if a performer rubs their hands on their pants or a silk skirt before a demonstration, they can easily charge their body enough to pull or repel light objects. Now, when the audience sees the object move without being touched, they assume the force is coming from the person's brain instead of their skin. So after that, we can go into the brain-computer interface, but I think that's where we need to stop, and I need to hand it over to you. What do you think, Robert?
Well, okay, everyone's saying this, but what about like your body's like the electric eel. You can create your body can adapt to certain situations that you train your mind and you train your body for certain certain ability, and like because it's been shown that people do have certain unknown abilities that files people just can't explain. Okay, and you can. What about like the body has its own hum to it, so where you can't hear it, but you can vibrate objects to where you want, however you would want them, just by by not touching it, but pointing like a direction from your fingers. Okay, because you're using certain sounds below human hearing. Your body, as they say, like AAAS says that the human body has its own frequency and its own field within it, and within a body you can do, if you can control it and you know what you're doing, how far can you actually go with the ability for that. And as well too, they have said that people with doing that too have their senses, like their smelling and their taste, increases too.
Well, the thing though you gotta take into consideration is like telekinesis is supposed to be mind power. Now you're also incorporating, things that are actually a part of the body, and that's what they're talking about. This is manipulation through electromagnetic energy that you have naturally in your body. But that's not mind control. That's not what they're talking about. Like telekinesis is you're naturally making these things do this stuff with your mind, not with electromagnetic energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you're actually making things move without using it electromagnetic energy from your body or anything like that. Just straight from your mind.
Well, okay, because I was trying to say like if the body, your mind can controls that in a way that the without the mind it won't work. You have to focus the mind and then all the different things which you would want for your mind to can adapt to it to understand how like you're training your mind to where when you want to make a certain sound or whatever, or like when you want to try to make the spoon move or whatever, you got to focus your mind and the energy of for that mind to work all as one, and which synchronize everything together for that one focus.
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to a lot of that, like using the mind and well, see, one thing I don't really agree with because I've actually done the whole rubbing your feet on the carpet shit. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but anybody who's an illusionist is not going to have that much of an opportunity to get that much static electricity. Dude, I've actually done that stuff playing around with balloons and stuff. And I mean, even the skeptics are stupid when it comes to that. I just don't agree with that either because it's like they would have to be constantly rubbing their freaking body on something. You know what I mean? So I mean, I kind of see both sides of it. You know what I mean? There's some situations where you can't say that they're rubbing their freaking body for static electricity. You know what I mean? It's
especially when your hair on your head and your hair on your arm would stand up from it.
Well, I mean that wouldn't not unless people are looking for that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but if your hair does do it all on its own, if you know enough of the static.
I've never really paid it. Well, I guess I have in some situations, but that's like if I took something and put it close to it, it stuck up. You know? Yeah, like especially if you take a balloon and rub it against your skin, it would make the hair stand up. But I don't know. What do you think, Mark? What's your take on this?
I was just thinking exactly on the same lines as you, really. A lot of it's, well, can I say fraudulent?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. A lot of it's fraudulent.
I mean, for me, I do believe that there are some kind of some things that the mind's capable of doing. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. But when they start talking about telekinesis and levitation and stuff like that, that's where I think they cross the line. You know what I mean? Because there's been nobody that's been able to prove that. You know, they've even got like Buddhists, monks from like Tibet and different areas of that region that are trying to make it look like they're actually levitating, and they're making like videos that are fraudulent where they're like sitting up behind in front of a pole, and it looks like they're levitating in the middle of the air, but they're actually sitting in front of what's holding them up. You know, stuff. They have that stuff all over the internet now, and just people are buying into it, and it's you know, and they've got a school of Buddhist monks that are actually crossing their legs and hopping while they're sitting in the lotus position, you know, and that's just to freaking levitate because they think that if levitation is like the highest form of ascension. I guess. So it's interesting. A lot of this is really, really interesting. So that's just my take on it, Robert.
Okay, but at the same time, there's there is certain things that just is a little curious on certain things. Okay, for one, if you're sitting like 3-4 foot away from a person that has that ability, but picks up on certain things about what you're the way you way you are and what you're think more or less what they're going to probably guess that they probably under reading your mind more or less. Okay, like if you're looking and thinking of what you can do or how you can, they're gonna they have ability to where they can almost read certain things about what a person's thinking or wanting to do. Okay, or and there's another one where they have a ability to look through other person's eyes to see what they're seeing. I don't know how that works unless
No, I remember hearing that uh, back in that has to do with like the transcendentalist movement. They believed in that stuff. They believe that like if you take a person and you set them on one side of the room and you set another one on the other side of the room and you keep completely silent, you stare at each other for a while, you could actually start to freaking communicate with each other freaking psychically. That's actually one of the mystical sides of the transcendentalists. They believed in that stuff. They believe in you had a psychic connection, and that has to do with a lot with the God conscience, which comes out of Carl Jung's theories and stuff like that. Eventually, he came out with that kind of stuff. So that's actually an interesting area that you can go into if you want to go into that area. Because that is something that's actually, I don't think it's more of telekinesis as much, you know what I mean? But you could look at it in a different kind of area of researching and pulling up for maybe another episode, because that's really not telekinesis,
hmm,
you know.
and what about well when like when they I guess when they touch an object of the person that just touch it, and they can pick up certain things of them.
Well, I don't know if that's that would be mystic, you know what I mean? That's kind of like what the Ghost Whisperer does on the famous movie freaking Ghost Whisperer, but I mean, and then Haunted Relics. I know what's his name, the guy that was um, what were they called? They're the ones that did the Amityville horror, the husband and wife. You remember?
Hollywood.
I forgot their
Stuff.
I forgot their names. They're the husband and wife. They're the ones that freaking went to Amityville, and then they did freaking. Oh my God, I should know this crap. I'm having a brain fart. I'll get that. They went out and they went out and. Or their nephew, actually, he's the one that's running the museum. He believes that they have haunted artifacts where spirits are still inside of artifacts and stuff. So, like, you could have something sitting up on your fireplace that could be possessed by a demon or a monster. Or
You have to do a search on the names.
I forgot. Yeah, I can do it real quick. Just talk real quick and give your point of view, and I'll do a quick search while you're doing that. All right.
Sorry, say that again.
I said I'll do a quick search real quick and get their names and stuff, and that way if you guys want to talk about it, I'll do a quick search and grab their names.
And I found, and I know what you guys talk about. There's one, they say it's the hauntingest thing there in the museum. Regular Ann and Andy doll. They has put it into a glass container, and they have a camera within that area, but at times the doll supposedly have an ability to move its head or arm within in that glass case.
Okay.
And anyone that touches it or whatever, bad luck seems to have fall upon them.
Ed and Lorraine Warren, sorry. That was what it was.
Should not mean anything to me.
Ed and Lorraine Warren were the ones who did the Conjuring, the investigation for the Amityville Horror House. And then they also did The Conjuring. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie or not, but
No.
but it was supposed to be Kathy and George Lutz who moved into the Amityville house, and they made a movie out of it. So that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just concerned. Just I know the film, seen the film many times, but yeah, not the background to the film or the background.
Yeah. Now, to be fair too, and I know a lot of people don't like hearing it, but I've actually done research into them, and they were horrible. I mean, they were actually a pretty big fraud too. So, and I've heard a lot of them say nice things about his nephew. I don't know much about him other than he does do the museum, but like some of the stuff with, I mean, most of these people that they kind of idolize in that whole area have done pretty nefarious things. Like Ed actually started out as a painter, and he would go to all these creepy houses, and he would freaking paint the houses, and that with his wife, Lorraine. And then he got an idea that he could go knock on the door and tell him that freaking he's getting a bad sense from it because he has like this spiritual connection to things. So he'd go in and he would freaking tell him that it was haunted. And at the time that he started doing this, freaking Lorena didn't have any psychic abilities whatsoever. But as time went by, she eventually developed psychic abilities too, like her husband. You see? So now they're going around and they're telling people that these houses are haunted, and it just started going from there. But that's how they actually started, and it was all just a gimmick. I mean,
well, if it's true about that story about that land, the story of the land where the house was built on.
Yeah, The Conjuring. Now that is interesting because I actually, you're talking about on the Amityville?
Yeah, where how it all began. Satan worshiping on the land.
Yeah, I found out that none of that was actually, that was just Hollywood. They put that in there to give it, a little bit of flash. The most mysterious thing about that whole thing was not the Lutz family. It was the boy who murdered his family before they moved in. Okay, like in the second or in the second or the third movie, whichever one that told that story, they made it out like it was a stormy night and he came in with the gun. Okay, and that was the reason why they couldn't hear the gunshots. But weather reports for that night said that it wasn't a freaking rainy night at all. Okay, so this guy turns around, he goes from room to room, and he freaking shoots everybody in his family with their freaking, them laying on their stomachs, face down. And not one of them heard freaking gunshots and woke up from it. Okay. And when they did a freaking autopsy on them, they found out that none of them had any kind of drugs put in them. So they weren't drugged before they went to sleep. So something happened during that time period where he could go from room to room and shoot everybody in his family without any of them waking up to know what was happening.
Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't there one part about, I think it was his little brother was in the bathroom or the kitchen?
Yeah,
Doing something?
that was later on. They said
Oh, okay.
they said they seen that they had a photo of him standing in the hallway as a spirit, which that's kind of creepy. We got to be careful because stuff like this makes Mark Edworthy scared. So he gets kind of nervous.
Well, nightmares tonight. Thanks to you.
Yeah.
So,
sorry about that, Mark. But I mean, if you want, I can get back to the topic. I do have more on that. Let me get back on here and get back on track. Robert got me distracted. We were talking about the Amityville Horror. I'm not doing my job. I'm sorry, Robert.
That's okay.
Just don't do it again. Okay, so you had me do the research on this, and I started finding out that a lot of what this is actually taps into what I've been doing research on, okay? And it's not in the way that you're thinking of. Now, it's like I told you, like, there's brain power, and then there's manipulating things that are inside of your body, like electromagnetic energy, okay, which are two separate things. So even though they failed at telekinesis with their research, they actually developed a lot of things from the research they did that didn't have to necessarily do with telekinesis. And it has to do with what they call BCIs. Okay. Now, Mark, have you ever heard of a BCI?
don't you break down the abbreviation?
Okay. Now, what it basically is, it's every time you think, your brain cells send tiny electrical signals to each other. Okay. And those are reading brain waves, basically. And that's what it does. It reads brain waves. Now, scientists use sensors called electrodes to listen to these electrical signals. And that's how they catch these signals. Now, then once they read them and they catch them, they decode the message. And that's where these sensors send like the signal to a computer where specialized software figures out what your brain is trying to do. Okay. Now, after they've read it, they caught it, and then they decoded it, then there's where the computer has to take action, and it sends a command to a machine like a robotic arm or a motorized wheelchair to make it move. Now, there are two types of BCIs. There's outside of the head, which is non-invasive, and you wear a cap that's covered in sensors, and they sit on your hair. Okay, now it's safe and it's easy, but the signals are a bit blurry because your skull blocks the sound. All right. Now, after that, you have the invasive kind, which is inside the head, and that's where doctors place like this tiny computer chip directly into your brain through surgery. And this gives a crystal clear signal, but it requires a medical operation to do it. Okay. Now,
where is this legal? Because I've never heard of such an operation, at least in Europe.
They're called brain-computer interfaces.
Yeah, but where is this legal? Where is this regulated?
Well, we do have companies that are involved in it that I can name off to you. So if you want to hear,
Yeah, what countries are participating in this?
probably in the UK too. They really enjoy cutting edge
Not that
technology.
not that I've heard of, at least.
Well, there's quite a few because I brought up a few computer companies that's doing the same thing. Where
Yeah, but that requires all sort of medical regulation,
well,
legislation to be set down. So, uh, which countries?
Okay, so let me finish with this, and I can look that up for you. So.
Yeah.
Now, several cutting edge companies are building brain computer interfaces, and they're divided on how they capture brain signals, either by going inside the skull with surgery or sitting safely outside the skull. Now, inside the skull, invasive and surgical, these companies build devices that require surgery but offer the sharpest, most accurate control over machines. And that brings us to Neuralink and how it works. Now, that was founded by Elon Musk, who uses a custom made surgical robot to insert ultra thin threads directly into brain tissues. Now, the latest progress that that's been having is they have successfully implanted chips into human patients, allowing paralyzed individuals to control computer cursors, browse the web, play video games, and even drive a motorized wheelchair with their minds.
Yes, this is the public information. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Then you have
Obviously,
the
obviously, this is limited to only a select few test patients.
now you also have Cycron. Okay, now how that works: instead of opening the brain surgery, instead of open brain surgery, threads of mesh tube called a stent are through blood vessels. They're sent through blood vessels until it sits right next to the brain. And the latest progress that they've had is that they've been backed by tech giants like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. Now, Cycron has implanted its device into several human trial patients. They have even partnered with Apple to let patients control iPhones and iPads using thought.
yeah, they're saying that by 2030 or 40, it'll be having setups where you can have it install on your head, your
Yeah.
cell phone.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. So back the brain interface technology isn't that. I don't want to say. Okay, so there are multiple ways to do it. Okay, back in the early 2000s, and I remember seeing the ads for it and the demonstrations for it. That is little circular rings they would put on top of a baby's head, and this device would read the child's brain waves, and the brain waves were transmitted to a toy ball, which would move. This was a child's toy back in the early 2000s. So the brain computer interface, there's 100 ways to do it, and it's not science fiction. It's so easy to do.
Okay, so I did pull up information on where BCIs were legally able to do, where these tech companies are legally able to do it. It says tech companies are legally able to test and develop brain-computer interfaces in almost any country, provided they follow strict medical device laws and receive human trial approvals. However, the global epicenter for this technology is concentrated in the United States, China, and the European Union, each operating under different legal systems. Because BCI BCIs involve reading or simulating the human brain, companies cannot just sell them like smartphones. They must navigate a patchwork of medical rules, human testing laws, and emerging brain data privacy acts. So you've got it going on in the United States, China, and in the EU.
How widespread in the EU, I wonder. In the US and China, that's explainable.
Now, the United States is the most active legal playground for the BCIs. So,
Because after all,
Not kidding.
the US, the US medical, the US government's not really interested in your personal rights, so it doesn't matter if there's no regulation in the US.
now the EU focuses heavily on human rights and data safety. So the legal framework for BCIs, they have to comply with the strict EU medical device regulation, the MDR. Any AI software powered by BCI falls under the EU AI Act, which heavily restricts or bans tech that forces subconscious manipulation. Now, neural privacy. Unlike the US, where only few states protect brain data, Europe's GDPR legally protects brainwaves across all member nations by treating neural data as highly sensitive biometric data.
Personal data, yeah.
You know, I tested that whole legality thing because so I went to Michigan for for most of us, well, actually all of the summer and some of the fall. I tested out the legal system when it comes to this kind of stuff. Neural weapons. Michigan is the only state in the union that has laws against neural weapons. I wrote to the congressman of Michigan about neural weapons. And guess what happened to me? I got put in a psych ward for 3 weeks.
Okay. I would like to see that. Yeah, I would like to see how you worded that.
But, hey, but I got a question about this. Okay, like in Australia, they made that special. They take DNA and they form it into brain. Okay, now how does that work with that there? Because if you train the brain, yeah,
I do have two more companies too that I can throw in here. There's Paradromics, and how they work is they use a tiny chip packed with thousands of microscopic needles to listen to brain cells. Now, they recently received FDA approval for human trials focusing heavily on helping people who cannot speak translate their thoughts. No, wait, let me start that over. Focusing heavily on helping people who cannot speak, translating their thoughts directly into their synthetic speech. That would most likely be what what's his name was doing, the one that was the scientist who just passed away. He's the one that came up with the black holes theory. What was his name again?
Hawkins?
Yeah, Hawkins.
Did he actually do anything?
I don't. That's
Einstein.
well, he had that voice thing. I don't know if he did that.
Yeah, I don't think he was actually active in that sort of field of science.
No, he was.
I think so.
No. Hawkins was.
Okay.
You ever heard of Hawkins radiation? Okay, so it's a study. So a black hole is thought to destroy not just matter, but all information. And so they're trying to come up with equations to prove that, because there's two sides of the physics. One side says information cannot be destroyed. The other side says it can be. So theoretically, when matter goes to a black hole, it's not only destroying matter, but it's stripping the matter of its information. So the thing is, they found that black holes radiate an energy. There's not 100% of everything that goes in stays in. And Hawking's was the one who came up with that discovery, which is why they call it Hawking's radiation.
Okay.
So yes, that was definitely his field, for sure.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with the more cybernetic sort of points?
I'm not saying it does, but you just said he had nothing to do with that field.
No, yeah, that's what I was looking at. Sort of medical.
Yeah, we were. Now, this is where we get into the good stuff. We get into BlackRock. Okay, BlackRock Neurotech is another one that does their research into this, which is good too. Now, how it works is this. Well, first of all, this is the grandfather of the industry. Okay, just so everybody knows. When I say Cortical Labs or CL1, this is straight up BlackRock. And this is where what you're talking about here today, Robert, is actually connecting with what I'm talking about when I do my series on the cosmic weave and stuff. It's now BlackRock is actually the grandfather of the industry. They've been providing implantable brain chips to scientists and medical researchers for decades. Okay, and they're supposed to be helping paralyzed individuals move physical robot arms in lab settings and stuff. And then outside of the skull, the non-invasive and wearable, all of these companies make devices that you can take off and on, like regular phones or hats.
I don't get it. I do not get it. If these devices have been around for decades now, where are they on the commercial market? And if they are medical aid,
I think I'm gonna have to try to nip this in the bud again, because like I've showed you the website once before.
Yeah, you've only showed me sale.
You can literally buy the program on the internet, dude.
Oh yeah, they have a device you can put on your head.
I mean, all you gotta do,
you can type with your brain on the keyboard. They had that in the early 2000s as well.
No, I mean, literally, a medical organization can get freaking the program for wetware.
If a medical organization is releasing a product,
I don't understand why you deny the fact that this stuff exists. Like I'm
asking you where's the product.
Let me go get the link for you again.
You're asking why is it not widely available? That's what you're saying. Yeah. Why is it not widely available?
It is widely available. It is widely available. They're selling it on the internet.
Show me a list of different products.
I'm gonna go get you the link right now.
Please.
It's probably because it's expensive. That's probably why it's not widely available.
Well, that, or if you don't go to the hospital for the process, because they got to take a lot of that information, like your how do you say the way your body runs, the damages, or they got to put all that computer stuff together where it works with your chemistry.
Well, they do have the stuff in the hospitals where, where you can speak through a computer when they put a device on your head if you are unable to speak or move your body. Yeah.
Yeah, they can manufacture it there.
At least not in the UK. If not,
even in the UK, they have the ones where like you blink and you can literally type on the computer.
Yes, that's eyelid muscles. Yeah, I did. Many years ago, I did some charity work for some disabled learning youth thing, and acted as IT support for them, and I came across all kinds of accessibility sort of wear, so things like time switchers as an example, and Yeah, I've come across IE the sort of switch.
Okay, click on this link right here
What
in the chat right here.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Click on that.
about
Click on that link. I'm
Yeah,
gonna read this. I'm gonna read this so that
I know
freaking
that company. I was talking about wider in market.
let me
That's only
go
one
ahead and
company.
read this so that people in the audience can hear it. It's from Cortical Labs. It says actual intelligence. Think beyond silicon. Join the new era of computing and deploy your technology to real neurons locally on the CL1 or distributed on the cortical cloud. So you can buy this stuff because it's not artificial intelligence, it's actual intelligence. Think beyond
Yeah, I
silicon.
think you're missing a point a little bit. We were talking about human interface devices,
That's
HIDs.
exactly what this is, man. This is exactly what it is.
It's not as a separate machine that lives outside of
Okay.
This is no, dude. This is not. This is actually going straight into the brain, dude. Okay, they are using CL1 right now to freaking put implants into people's brains that can't freaking move half their face. These are they're putting these neurons into the brain so that they can freaking actually move their freaking mouth and talk.
Again, in countries like jurisdictions like the EU and UK, this wouldn't be allowed without medical approval and the entire medical approval process.
Well, how does the UK handles that when it comes from one of their like Australia?
I'm not sure about the actual process, but I know the process can be extremely long.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Roger, I accidentally moved you to viewer mode because I was trying to make that screen predominant on my phone, and I accidentally removed it. Sorry about that. Did I mess up the thing?
No, I think it only affects you. Only affects your screen.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to view what your site here, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, this isn't it's a biological computer, i.e. a computer with a biological element within it, module within it. But it's not a computer that actually physically links into a human
brain.
Brain, if you like.
But what they do is, as well, is they're using it to manufacture, because they found out that by doing this process, it leads to other types of healing and progress in medical industry. They found over, I think they're claiming.
Sorry, my point is, it doesn't matter what the engineers or scientists or technicians have found, without a medical approval, the concept of an internal human interface device would not be possible on the open market. All except for maybe I've seen there was a Swiss company that was dealing with RFID chips under the skin, and I think in Switzerland, at least, in where they could do it.
What about on your skull? The chips that are on your skull, will they permit that?
No, it was just in a arm or hand or something.
Because because they use that for when people have like car wrecks and their head got hit real hard and it caused.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking things like obvious medical treatments
Yeah.
like pacemakers, as an example. That's a good example of a human interface device, internal.
Because they came across a bunch of new stuff they did through that process for medical industry, and actually, and
Okay, I pulled up the article that I had used before in the last time I had this conversation, and there is a case with a guy by the name of Keith Thomas, which was reported by the Guardian. Now, the thing is the in his case, doctors did not give him new biological neurons. Instead, they used a technology called a double neuron bypass to reconnect the healthy living neurons he already had inside of his head.
So it was
Now-
a already well-established medical procedure.
Now, when Keith's neuron bypass works, now when a person is paralyzed by a spinal cord injury, the brain cells that say move any hand are still perfectly healthy. Now the problem is that the spinal cord is broken, so the signal can't reach the arm. Scientists at the Feinstein Institute for Medical Research fixed this by building an artificial bridge. Listening to his thoughts, surgeons implanted tiny computer microchips directly into the areas of Keith's brain to control movement and touch.
Okay.
When Keith imagines moving his hand, his neural brain neurons fire electrical signals. The microchips pick up on these signals and send them to a computer running artificial intelligence. The AI decodes what he wants to do and instantly beams those instructions directly to flexible electrical patches on his spine and forearm muscles, causing them to move. They even put sensors on his fingertips. When he touches something, a signal travels back to the chip in his brain, allowing him to actually feel his sister's hand or the fur of his dog. No,
But this is just a test. It's one-off experiment.
yeah, this just
to-
came out. This
Okay.
just came out, and it came out by the Feinstein Institute. Feinstein
German?
Institute for Medical Research. And I think Feinstein was the guy that everybody accused of Pizzagate during Hillary Clinton's.
Okay. German, Austrian, German.
No, I think Feinstein, the one who they're talking about, is the guy who backed Hillary Clinton when she was running for president.
Okay.
So
So, which country was this operation conducted in?
it was here in the United States. I know
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But they say the real brain rewired itself, which it can happen, but they still use microchips to freaking do it. You know what I mean? And this is falling into the research that Robert was, or that led us from the telekinesis that we got into. Like when they did the research back in the day for telekinesis, they didn't find any concrete evidence for telekinesis, but they learned how to develop this technology because of it.
So you say telekinesis of 100 years ago was actually some little machines?
No, they literally did do research on telekinesis.
Yeah, I know they did do research, as you explained earlier. But yeah.
But because of the tricks and all of the stuff that they learn that comes out of like what magicians and skeptics were talking about, they actually developed this because of electromagnetic energies.
And just not that. They found out too. The mind control picks it like your sound and your your aura. Where
Well, can I add in my
yeah,
target individual experience with this, or is that too French?
This is Robert, so he's got to make the call. What do you think, Robert? You want to hear some targeted stuff?
as long as it fits the subject.
Oh, it
Okay,
does.
so
It
yeah.
does.
Well, you want to talk about telekinesis. So you see all these videos online, these people experiencing paranormal, yada yada yada. They'll hear things and they'll record with their phones. Plates flying off the
Yeah,
tables,
we've
or
all seen those haunted house not films, documentaries.
well, yeah. So you'll see like the cabinet opening and plates just falling out and stuff like that.
Mm.
Well, so in my experience as a targeted individual, not only did I find out they can heterodyne frequencies to make sounds. When I say heterodyne, you add in two sound waves that are not audible by the human ear, and you focus them into a single spot. Sound can happen and resonate in that single area. So, in my study of the psyop that the NSA was doing, they like to do a lot of Scooby Doo stuff, and they tried that with me. And they do this for many reasons. For target individuals, they have to play hyper game theory. They have to get people to use up their money, use up their resources. That usually means moving, getting a new place, buying a new house. And the stress of it and everything. It becomes detrimental, extremely detrimental to someone's life, especially down the road where they just end up wanting to kill themselves. That's the whole point of the program. So they do a lot of Scooby Doo stuff. So this is the only law the United States has around the supernatural. If you have a house where somebody has died in, or somebody was murdered in, before you buy that house, the realtor has to tell you that. Why is this the only law in the United States government that that is that is a law? Is beyond me, other than the fact they want to use the mysticism, the superstition around ghosts and hauntings. So I have found that they also have technology to do the same thing, heterodyne two different frequencies or more, and have it focus on one point, and they can move objects.
Yeah.
So you hearing voices and stuff flying off shelves. Yeah, it can be done quite easily. I mean, they got the concept from the Coral Castle. You guys know that, right? Over there in Florida, where this 100-pound guy built
Oh
huge
yeah.
obelisk stones monuments,
Yeah.
and he died with the secrets of how he did it. But people speculate that he had magnetic technology or sound wave technology to help him move all that stuff. So telekinesis, synthetic telekinesis, is entirely possible because I've seen it happen. They do that. I don't believe in ghosts. I believe there's a scientific explanation behind everything, and I have found those explanations. So yeah, things flying off shelves and things levitating. Yeah, it can be done artificially. That's what I wanted to add.
Well, like your oh, well, there's other things too. There's magnetic and electrical fields that your people if you're able to know how you can your mind can control that the field, magnetic and sound field, with control of your mind and your energy from, yeah, okay, you can you're able to control the situation for what you want, and you can manipulate a wide variety of certain things, they say.
Now, the thing that gets me is biometrics. Like, everybody knows what biometrics is now, and nobody wants to admit that that is exactly what you're talking about right there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, no big deal, but well, even V and Otto talk about how back in the freaking 1990s and the early 2000s, they loved doing research on it because freaking it was just so fascinating. You know what I mean? It was a big mystery back then, but now it's just everyday knowledge. Yeah, biometrics is real. You know what I mean? But when you have conversations like this, oh, it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? No, it's not the same thing, man.
Yeah, but AAAS, so it's different. You got humonic waves and sound that each person's body releases. And they have said too, telekinesis works on that same principle, where it's like a location for.
Now, when you say AAAS, you're talking about the American Association for the Advancement of Science, right?
Yeah. And they got wide varieties of different groups within it.
Now, when it comes to biometrics, okay, and it comes to that you're either looking at like forensic science reports about fingerprints and like facial recognition, or you're looking at cloud computing technologies, and that's called authentication as a service, which is AAAS.
Doesn't have to be cloud. It can be sort of device specific. Take the phone print fingerprint readers that we use on mobile phones these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that came up. They found out about fingerprints. How you're like your second fingerprint on your right hand. A person down the road, the same fingerprint on your left hand can be on his right hand. So they had to redo the whole thing about when they fingerprint you, they got to be specific on what finger is wrong, where the same fingerprint appears on a different thing. They got to know on what hand and what finger.
Well, see, what the AAAS, they published a science assessment, and they said that fingerprint source identity lacks scientific basis for legal certainty, and that in that report they proved that like courtroom claims stating that fingerprints can only belong to like one single person are wrong.
Okay.
So they called for like a better automated system and stricter testing for to fight cognitive bias is what they called it.
But hell, your country still uses still allow for polygraph tests in courts, don't they? Or even on the state.
Well, they're actually trying to get facial recognition into it. I was talking about that the other night. You know, this shit's just straight up eugenics programs. That's all it is. It's straight up eugenics, and they're just
no, it's just pattern recognition.
That's what that facial recognition is. It's eugenics, dude.
No, it's pattern recognition.
Yeah, but we call it your course, your retina, where without your retina, they won't let you, because that's going to be part of it.
Don't think we
Well,
have
the thing about
actual
the polygraph stuff, yeah, it's still used in American courts, but it's not used as conclusive evidence.
Okay.
It's only suggestive.
No, because they have got people prosecuted. They got framed by the fingerprint.
If there's
DNA.
more evidence to back it, yes, but a polygraph by itself cannot convict you.
So same with fingerprints as well. Then fingerprints will be treated exactly the same.
But they said that they do gotta watch out, because that, like you said, and when they're coming up with the different types of fingerprints on different hands and fingers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it gives you suspicion of something, of an action taking place, but it's not. You need further proof to substantiate that suspicion.
Yeah.
So fingerprints by themselves are not sufficient.
Well, according to that company in Australia, they take the material and they make it to where it functions by sound, electric fields, and all that to
Now,
test the brain.
okay, let me read something to you so that we can clear this up again. Okay, so Sir Francis Galton is the guy who I'm talking about. He not only was he's the one who coined eugenics, the word eugenics. Okay, he was the cousin of Charles Darwin. He was his half cousin. Okay, he was a scientist who played a massive role in the forensic science, and he was specifically the one who pioneered work in fingerprints as well as the thing with the photos that I was talking about. Okay. So not only was he a part in the whole freaking facial recognition thing, but the fingerprint shit. He's also he played a big part on it. You can check that out if you want. Just saying, this shit is eugenics 100%.
Yeah, but it can also be just used for pattern recognition.
He's the father of modern day fingerprinting, dude.
Yeah. Again, pattern recognition to aid in a case in
eugenics.
Pattern recognition. If you've got something that could potentially be unique, or at least
phrenology, dude. It's phrenology.
It's not phrenology, but there is an overlap. It doesn't mean it can't be both. Okay,
it's freaking phrenology. Okay, phrenology and photographing, like the criminal face. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He may not have been filling around on people's freaking skulls for bumps and shit, but he was obsessed with freaking the whole criminal thing. Like he freaking did the whole. I'm not lying, dude. He wanted to see the person's physical looks.
I'm not dating you up, but
yeah.
Well, fingerprinting does have a lot more science rooted into it than that stuff, though. If you want to do a comparison, I do agree with the pattern thing, because our fingerprints are kind of unique. I don't know, but does that lead to a personality deficit or some
it shouldn't be
profiling? No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be held where they can use that for anyway, saying that you broke the law because your fingerprints appear on whatever. Where when they can't compare your fingerprints to the layout of the other.
Well, I just read where they're finally coming out with information saying that fingerprints are flawed. The whole concept that one person has their own significant fingerprints is a lie, dude. Like
Yeah,
there
but
could be.
being on that, having that fingerprint on that specific finger is a what's the percentage of people having
It's a good question.
that? Must be
Actually,
minuscule.
what is the
Imagine.
percentage? All right.
Well, you know, you better hope they keep this fingerprint thing because they're going to use that as an excuse to, well, we're going to need some way to better detect and to ID somebody that they can't change. And next thing you know, you're going to have towers, 1,000 towers sprouting up everywhere that's remote neural monitoring everybody. Oh, well, around scene of this crime, your brainwaves were picked up. And, yeah, can't be anybody else but you.
But with them
As
new
people
cameras
said,
that
that
get
already
in the
been
car,
done, haven't they? People picking up, police picking up, getting data from Google Maps and using that to associate a crime
well,
with a
they were
person.
The flock
they
and the
were
flock cameras. Oh, that's terrible.
yeah, but they
Well,
were
that's
they were
mainly more to do with transportation, but
Well, no, every they're tracking everything.
arguably. That's
Yeah,
the,
but,
one of the
uh,
official reasons. That's the
Well,
truth.
no. But if you look into it, they use that data and they cross-reference it with other kinds of data that's collected. So it's full
Maybe in
on.
the US,
The U.S.
again,
does, yes.
in Europe, we've got the GDPR. That would be illegal under
but what they're
European
talking
Union
I,
EA.
by next
GDPR.
year.
well, they are sharing data. Yes.
Yeah, but by next year, all these cars got to have the new stuff in. The third camera will be for the
In which
back of the car. The second one would be for the passenger. The third would be for the driver. If it looks like your eyes are red or bloodshot, and if your pulse is up high, they got that thing where it registers your pulse on the steering wheel. And if they got
okay,
that airborne detector for alcohol.
Roger, when you get a chance next, find the legislation that's related to enforced cameras, or at least in the US, enforced
Well,
cameras. in
here I can. Yeah, that's actually a good thing to do because that's actually good. And then, like in Britain as well, because like in England, they have real strong camera laws where they're actually encouraging, and it's people in England are
Yeah,
really
but
wanting.
we've also got really strong data, technically stronger than just the GDPR. We've got our data protection laws stretching back to 72 or something,
Yeah, but
76,
you guys are
which are
obsessed with
extremely strong.
cameras, dude. You guys are
Yeah.
obsessed with cameras. I mean,
But
seriously.
yeah, again, if it's in a public area, then there has to be some information printed close to it on who is the data controller and content information, and unless you explicitly agree to it, no data, unless there's warrant, no data can be swapped between companies.
Well, yeah, but if
You
you
either
don't,
have to be, you've got to agree to it,
yeah, 'cause
or
if you don't,
that's the warrant.
yeah, 'cause if you don't agree, you don't get cars.
Right? Again, that would need legislation done.
Yeah,
A
it
company
does.
can't just make that decision. It will have to be done through state or federal legislation, as far as the US is
Well,
concerned.
the reason what they're saying is they're making up these laws because too many drugs, alcohol, when you drive fast, reckless driving, and when there's too many people in the vehicle, or if you're drinking as you're driving, the vehicle can turn over and transport it to the cop.
Okay, so I pulled up that information.
State-based, aren't they, in US?
Now, in the United States, there's very little federal protection against camera tracking your car or scanning your face in public. Instead, the U.S. relies on patchwork of state laws, local city bans, and recent corporate policy changes to limit public surveillance. Legally, the Supreme Court has long ruled that you have no reasonable expectation of privacy when you are out in the open on public streets. Protection varies depending on what the cameras are tracking. Now, car tracking, automated license plate readers, ALPRs. Police forces and private companies use systems like Flock Safety to run massive networks of AI-powered cameras. These cameras do not just read license plates. They log a vehicle's make, color, and roof racks and unique dents. Federal law, there are 0 federal laws banning or restricting these cameras. In fact, agencies like the FBI actively try to buy access to national license plate databases.
Cameras themselves,
Is that what I just said?
Even in the UK, cameras are out there, and there's no expectation of privacy in a public place. But the difference is, in the UK, I can write off to the data protection officer and say, provide me with all the data you've got on me. And if he doesn't, with a few exceptions, he could be breaking the law.
Now, what if a higher court? What if a higher court decided that your information is top secret and that you are not allowed to have?
Yeah. That's why I said with a few exceptions. So if it's part of national security, they may not.
Like if they consider you a threat, then they aren't obliged to give you the information.
If it's an active legal situation. If
MI6 is suspecting you of treason, then because you're saying outlandish, subversive things on the internet.
Yeah, like me.
Well, or who you associate with, but then look up inside for the car, right? For the cameras in the new cars. Next year, this all goes into effect.
Now,
I'm not sure, but I've got to double check this. There might be some protections under the California Consumer Protection Act.
Well,
now,
you want to know something that's funny? Because just to go along with this, when my targeting started, I did call up the FBI. And I was like, why you guys messing with me? Why you guys watching me? Why you guys watching me? We're not watching you, sir. You're paranoid. And then I go online and look up my information that can actually be researched publicly. There's a huge red flashing thing that comes up on my thing says under government watch list. You can look up my information and the second page that comes up is under government watch.
I would speak to a lawyer and see if you can find out what is the reason.
Oh yeah, no, I'm way ahead of you on that. Yeah, I have all that planned. Absolutely.
Yeah, but the car, they're talking about like your retinal. They go by that because like if it's all red from alcohol or smoking any kind of illegal stuff, and in your pulse, they don't get all tied to the car.
I have high blood pressure and I have permanent red eye. So I would never be able to drive a car.
Okay, I got the thing about the car dealers too. It says, yes, a dealership can legally refuse to sell you a vehicle if you refuse to sign their privacy agreement or object to a built-in cameras. Private businesses generally maintain the right to refuse service to anyone providing they are not discriminating against a protected class such as race, religion, or gender. If a dealership requires consent to data collection as part of their standard purchase agreement, they can simply walk away from the deal if you refuse to sign.
Okay. Not agreeing to contracts. Yeah, but you can go to another company and ask for a car from them. It's up to you as the consumer to decide to buy a car with cameras.
Go to a private seller. That's what I would do.
Indeed.
Now, why dealers and manufacturers require consent? They have manufacturer built-in hardware. Modern vehicles come equipped with driver-facing cameras directly from the factory floor to monitor drivers' distraction or impairment. Because the physical hardware cannot easily be uninstalled by the dealer, the car is legally bound to collect data. So liability
Yeah, and
and
then
terms of service.
the data would be subject to your local jurisdictional laws, such as the California Consumer Protection Act or the General Data Protection Regulations within Europe.
Now, dealerships frequently profit by sharing or selling customer data or using data to process financing. Signing the privacy policy is usually mandatory to secure a vehicle loan.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's up to you. As I keep on saying, always read those terms and conditions.
now, because I'm in Illinois, I have access to some of the strongest privacy laws in the United States, specifically
Okay.
the Illinois Biometric Information Privacy Act, which is the BIPA. So that's the mandatory disclosure that you're talking about. Under BIPA, a dealership or automaker cannot secretly scan your face or collect biometric data without providing written notice and obtaining your explicit signed consent.
But these companies will just get you to agree to a contract, and you've already agreed to it. Therefore, you're already aware. Even and it's the old joke, isn't it? Ignorance will justify the law. If you don't read the terms of services, that's your fault.
Well, if you don't agree to sign the freaking
Then you don't get the
consent
product.
forms, you don't get the video or the vehicle
Yeah,
either.
you
So,
don't get the product. Yeah.
so you're kind of screwed out of the deal. It sounds
No,
like
again,
it sounds like
again, you can't get
1984 to me, man. It sounds like freaking
there are plenty of
1984.
other automobile companies out there.
So why can't people have the privilege of owning those less than 1 year old cars that freaking don't have freaking cameras in them?
Hold on. Does this go for, like, if you go to a car lot and you buy the vehicle outright? Let's say no payments. You buy the vehicle. You don't owe anything yet.
Right.
No payments. Do you just pry the cameras out and you don't get in trouble, or what?
The car was shut down.
I know BMW has done this. BMW, even for the outright sales, in certain circumstances, have put a yearly subscription contract. The joke about, I think it was BMW cars and heated seats. If you remember that one from a couple of months ago. Yeah. So even if you buy a car, you might have subscription fees for, I don't know, special little features like hair conditioning or coffee mug or something. Or something.
And then they can what? They can kind of repossess the vehicle?
No.
Or you go to prison or something?
No.
In England, you can go to jail for freaking tampering, or if you don't, the right to repair thing is something that's been going on there for quite a long time.
Actually, it was a couple of years ago. I think 2 years ago. Must be 4 years ago now, just before the pandemic. There was a law in the UK, specifically UK, in relation to repairing your own white goods, so fridges, kitchenware, sort of things, fridges, freezers, that sort of thing.
I wonder what they're going to do with the vehicles. That's actually a good question. So,
Well, they already brought that up. Old vehicles that don't have it, well, before you can go get your new license or sticker, they have a place that you got to go to where they can install all that into the vehicle, and it all runs by that little black box.
There was a bill going through the EU must have been a year ago now, and I've not heard anything about it since. In relation to firmware subscription models, firmware subscription contracts. I don't think it has got anywhere, as far as I am aware.
But hey V, but what they were talking about this car, like if your heater, your heat warmer, odds and ends that they put in, well, they have a deadline for all the things. In 6 months, it could discontinue and shut down. Okay, and by what they're saying is okay, after that now a time, you have a choice. You have to pay for a fee, monthly fee, for each of the things to be turned back on.
Yeah, I've been, as everybody knows, I'm a fan of Lewis Rossman, a YouTube commentator that also is domestic IT repair shop for decades now, mainly dealing with Macs, Apple Macs and stuff. And he looks at, he talks a lot about all of these devices that either the subscriptions, the so-called cloud servers have stopped working, therefore the device itself doesn't work anymore, or the contracts have changed and all of your cloud services are now being paid, expected to be paid for. Before Amazon bought the Ring doorbell company, Ring did this by one of the more popular models of doorbell cameras at the time, had this service terminated in something less than a year, and they weren't providing any refunds. So you've got this doorbell that doesn't do anything now because it has to connect to a server that's not being used or not being discontinued. So yeah, these things happen all the time, especially in the US.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But as everyone brought up, okay, when you buy a vehicle, you actually think that everything when you buy the vehicle, everything that's in it is yours. And as they say, that with all the new stuff and all that within, that's only a temporary thing for running. And after a while, and they're even talking about with household appliances doing that even.
Yeah. Technically, if you've bought the car and not loaning it, not renting it, therefore you haven't actually got the car itself. You only got a license agreement. If you own the car, you can. Sorry, I've lost my thread. Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say then.
Well, so let me add. So when I was doing my research on these block cameras, and I love it. There's a couple of lawyers, attorneys on YouTube that just basically tell you how to screw the system. And they were saying, when it comes to these block cameras, there's not much you can do except for, go to your town halls, city meetings, and complain about them. And if that doesn't work, there are special infrared blocking sunglasses you can buy. And you can also just wear a mask on your face with the infrared glasses. It's not illegal. You can walk around. You can even wear a COVID mask. Nobody's going to question you. So I think I'm going to start doing that myself.
Yeah, but now they're coming out with face recognition when you go wherever you go. Them cameras picked up, they're able to track, and they're making accusations about for security and all the other regular stuff.
Well, I mean, they're using it to stalk people. They're stalking people. It's not. There's a point where there's something that's surveillance, and then there's a point where you get to stalking. And they absolutely do that. Stalking leads to persecution. Persecution leads to corruption and oppression. Okay, it's just where that's the way it goes. And
Yeah.
these people are not mature enough. We are not evolved enough as a species for this power not to be abused. Just like any power we've given the government, it's always abused.
Well, it's not so much. Yeah, but it's well. Like, it does not have to be government, but I people.
Just want to, okay. It's just going to the point of it's stalking, obviously, it's just monitoring places, safety of the system.
I guess
Yeah.
someone's going
It's the
out.
difference between stalking and
Can you hear me?
yeah.
I think we've
Okay.
lost. Okay,
Yeah. we've
okay,
lost-
got you back. Okay, there you are.
Okay. I was wondering because Lord Elworthy was cutting. You could barely understand what he was saying, but it was parts of his voice you couldn't hear. It was cutting out. But yeah,
Okay. I was just making the comment in relation to stalking or just monitoring public places.
yeah,
I was
yeah, but
just
yeah,
these sort of stalking programs.
but they were talking about like them cameras in the vehicle, and they even
Yeah.
mentioned about how it locks onto your eyes. They do that a camera for the driver. Okay. And I'm thinking, now, what is the thing of if you're an FBI agent or any government office, okay, and it's the thing that certain things should not be known about, where information can be leaked the wrong way or corrupt, okay, and if you as a government officer, you don't need your retinal. So,
Again, you in the US with a couple of seconds.
We're getting the AI version of Lord Worthy.
Yeah, you're breaking up big time. Mark, calm down for a second because you're moving. You're moving. You just can't. You know when your audio your audio is breaking up. You're turning into like that. It's like barely coming out. Try it again now. Do a quick sound check real quick.
Okay, it's just working better. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but it's not sounding better. So since Mark Edworthy can't talk, I do want to say that in the last 2 years, I have become amazed with the freaking how advanced freaking eugenics has actually become in the last 100 years, because like all of the things that I thought wasn't eugenics has actually proven to be eugenics. You know what I mean? Like I could understand the concept of abortion being a form of voluntary eugenics. That's something I could understand. But when I started learning that freaking they're using freaking facial recognition and that's a form of eugenics, fingerprinting is
or a form of data recognition, pattern recognition.
That's what it's all about, dude. I mean, you understand why.
It just depends on how you want to look at it.
You know,
How
oh,
the
okay.
motivations for
It's
such technology.
it's that simple, huh? It's kind of like, you know, and people have a hard time with understanding like that because like I had a conversation with somebody who John actually no it was actually it was a it was a guest that we have on Wonderful World of Weirdness. He comes on every once in a while, and he said that he was a bouncer at a frickin' bar when he was younger, and that he had to pay attention to the way people behave because he could usually tell who the person was in the bar that was going to cause trouble before they did it.
Yeah, but he wasn't looking at the shape of the person's nose or if their eyebrows were too close together. He was looking at the behaviour. If you're a bouncer, I've been in several. Well, we've all been in nightclubs before,
Really
and
now?
the bouncer, eh? Well, I presume
Lord
everyone else.
Edworthy's kind of risque, isn't he?
He goes to the more distinguished pubs. He doesn't. He
Where is
doesn't.
that at?
Oh no, he goes to one where they all have the corn, not the corn pipes, but the wooden pipes, and they all sit around and say bully, bully, bully.
Bully.
Yeah, that little place where
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Scotch in a pipe.
He's from Devon, dude. Trust me.
A good bourbon.
He's hanging out with some pretty rough country boys out there in Devonshire.
I've been known to. I've been known.
My goodness. Your audio's better, by the way. It's straight out.
Cool.
So you're
well, I will say this. Okay. I just figure in the process of all sorts of different damages, comprehension, as they say, the human mind goes through a change where it reroutes sensors of how the perception, understanding, fear, and anger. And with each of them and because when you have serious damage to the brain, they have shown that the brain has to adapt and comprehend because they had to reroute because there was one whole section of the brain was completely damaged from a massive car wreck where a guy shot through the front window and hit the tree, and they had to redo it all. Just not with, but they had to teach. They hook him up to a computer and they put through a process where it taught the brain different things, like when he moved his hand or his foot.
So CAT scan.
Well, it taught the brain. It taught the brain the new ways going through your.
Well, do you guys want to hear the entertainment side of this? Like you guys have been wanting to like go on about the scientific sides, and we brought up BlackRock, but you guys don't even know about the entertainment part yet.
Probably can guess, but Kyle.
Have you guys heard of a MOTI or Open BCI?
Open BCI? No.
Have you been?
Yes.
What have you heard?
That's not what I've heard. It's what I've experienced. But go ahead.
Okay. So they build consumer-friendly, supposedly wireless headsets. They're lined with sensors, and they're widely used by researchers and video game developers and tech enthusiasts to experiment with mind control software. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you about at the beginning when I hopped on.
Mm-hmm.
The child playing with the little ball, the guy typing on the keyboard. It's just a little ring that you put around your head, and you can do all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they made a movie about it.
Now you have another one. It's called Neurable. Have you guys heard of Neurable?
Again, not familiar with this industry.
Okay, they build smartphones that look exactly like everyday listening gear, but have brain sensors built into ear cushions, and they track focus. They detect mental fatigue and allow basic hand-free control. And then after that, this is the most interesting one. It's called Muse. And this company makes popular lightweight headbands that track your brain waves to guide you through meditation and measure how calm or distracted your mind is.
Mhm.
So that
So it,
we can
could
get
that
that. We can get that for Otto for his birthday.
I think I've seen a project similar in relation to sleep. What's the condition where you can't sleep or you sleep too much?
insomnia.
I think we should make a collection and buy one of the Muse headbands for Otto so that he can wear it when he meditates and sleeps at night. Because
I can get all this data sent to a third party provider.
so
Yeah.
that's the entertainment side of things.
But you can use that for a lot of other things for
Well, yeah.
medical reasons.
Well, that one was it was for freaking mind control. What was that? Emoti and OpenBCI. They straight out say to
and
experiment
none of
with
the-
mind controlled software.
None of the technologies you've mentioned are invasive. Don't actually have to have a medical operation or anything. They're
No,
all on the outside.
well, it's like that watch you keep bragging about. It's biometric. It tells you what your heart rate is, everything.
Yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
creeping up into your brain and sending data off to a third party.
Right.
You know.
Be interesting to see if any Bluetooth ear bud manufacturers are bringing in this sort of technology.
Well, you know
Or glasses, the Ray Bans.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I just realized here recently that for me to use what was it? It was for me to use freaking the video game thing. What's that called? It's Ubisoft. To download something for a video game, I have to have a Bluetooth freaking connection.
Why?
I don't know. And Vector is the same way. If I want to sign into Vector with TAN, I have to have a Bluetooth connection for VoIP.
No, you can disable. I can't find my phone. It's up there somewhere. I'll have a look later.
Well, I've always been suspicious of Bluetooth. I think that's one of the most suspicious.
Well, I use Bluetooth every day. I've got,
Well, I know you do.
yeah, I've got a small 8-inch computer. I've got a full-blown Bluetooth keyboard and mouse for it. I wear Bluetooth earbuds every day.
I just find it suspicious that there's some of these devices you can't use without Bluetooth. You know,
Low power. Well, it's just a low powered communication network.
Well, maybe it's the phone too. Like you can't use the phone to get on to freaking Jitsi. Probably it could be something like that.
So they got Bluetooth phone as
I
well.
think so.
So if it don't they got a Bluetooth phone?
But see, the thing that's so deceptive about that is they claim to be open source, but they still want your information. They still have to have access.
So the product might be open source, but the again, you have to read the terms of service agreement and privacy.
They're conniving data stealers that want to.
No, they're not stealing. You are just gifting it to them.
I'm giving.
You're providing it to them. I should
Well,
say.
no. It is misleading because if you're not providing, if you're not benefit from it, but they are.
Well, you are benefit from it. That's the whole
You
thing.
will
See,
nothing, and you will be happy.
see that's the whole thing. That's the premise. They're saying that you're benefiting with your benefit is the fact that you get to use that technology. So if you want to use that technology, you are forced into using Bluetooth. That's forced consent, and that's what I've had my
No, it's not
issues.
enforced because if you've still got the opportunity not to use the product.
That's the thing that you stand by, but this is something that we've also had conversations on when it comes to stuff like YouTube, and they're freaking changing the goalpost. You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
better still, what happened just last week in relation to was it Sony and removing games from that you've already bought
yeah,
licenses for just in
yeah,
the last week or two.
yep.
Yeah.
And you start seeing that kind of stuff, and then like now with this whole change that they're doing with freaking YouTube on AI, okay, like this right here is big, and I've been listening to some of the content creators who've been chiming in on that, and they're phasing out a lot of the freaking people who are doing monetization, because
Okay.
now they like they're going to make it to where monetization is still going to have people who like have 1 million freaking viewers and stuff, but everybody who's got like 150,000 subscribers.
They've increased the minimum wage within the last week or so.
Yeah,
Double the amount.
they're phasing them out. You know,
8,000 per before per. I think it's 8,000 subscribers and at least a minimum of 100 views per month before you can start monetizing. I
Yeah.
think now. Right.
see that's all. That all has to do with telekinesis.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Telekinesis and your health. When a person does enough of it, doesn't it lower your how your body functions, your health wise, your energy.
Well, see,
You Roger pointed that out earlier with that women.
yeah. Now, see, you also have to take into consideration there's a difference between mind control and freaking like physical things like magnetism. A lot of the stuff we're talking about with the technology is the technology they found when it came to like the alternative stuff. Like they didn't actually find proof that mental control freaking was real, but they found out that electromagnetism was a big deal when it came to the body, which didn't have anything to do with mind. It just had to do with your physical body has an electromagnetic current that they can manipulate. You know what I mean?
Still
And
marketed, yeah, it's still marketed as these days.
right.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever somebody's bending that spoon, they're using freaking energy from their body to do it.
Yeah, we call it like your magnetic.
Yeah. Now meditation, and like after I've gone through all of this stuff, the thing of it is like I mentioned to you about the transcendentalists, okay, where they would sit across from one another and stare at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now that would be a form of eugenics, because they were actually looking at each other's freaking the way they looked, the way they freaking behaved.
So,
Wow,
and if
that kind of
every time I
sounds
look
like
at somebody,
romance.
yeah, I was going to say. So that that bird that was over the other side of the bar from me last week. That couldn't get her eyes off me. Was doing a form of eugenics.
Yeah, she was reading your mind.
She's getting a read on you, brother.
She
was wondering how many times she could wrap those curls around her pinky.
That's right. She was reading your mind.
Or
she was like, I wonder if that dude's a dirty English dude.
Well, no, we call
dirty
it like,
English Lord Edward is the dirty man.
No, see, no. In England, the women have to worry about is the dude straight or not.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah, but they say too, like when a woman, if a woman likes you, like a sense or a magnetic, you body picks up that from someone else.
Well, see that's something that I was talking to you about the other day too that we need to do because like this also gets into intuitive thinking. Okay, now this goes even deeper if you want to go that route because when you start thinking or talking about intuitive thinking, that takes you into another form of research that they're actually doing. Like they're literally doing scientific research on intuitive thinking.
Okay.
And that's another thing we could probably do if you wanted to do
You know, you can go so many places with that. You know, that's what the
Yeah.
double soul guru was doing.
Mhm.
You know, when he's saying, you know, we as men need to be naked together and touch our shroom heads together and slap each other's balls.
Well, you know that Robert probably doesn't want to hear that. It's probably making him sick to his stomach, dude.
Oh, don't speak for him when you're. Quit
Robert, is
projecting.
that making
Quit
you sick to
projecting.
your stomach, dude?
Well, I
Yeah.
couldn't hear him too clearly.
See,
Okay,
you're projecting.
okay.
See,
Now see, he's
I don't think
blocking
Robert would have
you
a
out.
problem.
Robert literally is.
No.
I don't think
Yeah.
Robert would have a problem with having a bromance. I know Mark wouldn't.
Well,
It's all
depends on who with.
I think V's trying to come on to one of us. I just don't,
You know what?
I don't know which one. That's the scary
It's a hard
part.
choice. I haven't seen Robert, but you know I love that bald head of yours, and then those curly cues over there. God, you guys make me so confused.
Wherever.
I would feel complimented if it wasn't coming from V, dude. He's
but like your field. Everyone they say your field. Everyone, if you're sat next to someone, like harmonics.
harmonics.
Yeah.
Magnetic attractance. Well, you know, there's books on that kind of stuff.
Harmonics too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are books like that that tell you how to make yourself magnetic to women and all this other stuff, and how to change your energy and make the universe kneel to you and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I mean, it's overinflated, but theoretically, all this stuff is kind of true.
Yeah.
I remember all those 90s self-help books as well.
Yeah, I bet
Yeah.
you did.
And see, that's the thing that I keep trying to get at when it comes to having a conversation with you, Robert. You got to kind of watch what you're taking in, and you know what I mean, because there's a lot of freaking deception out there. You know what I mean? Like you've really got to keep hold of this stuff. Like, you know how you know a woman's interested in you?
Wow.
She'll ask you to buy her stuff.
No.
Yeah, what's your credit card number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing. You gotta freaking understand that kind of stuff. It's not about mind control. It's not about telekinesis. Like that, they call that sex magic. Okay, and like the sex magic is a state of mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's just not even magic. It's just a state of mind. You know what
Psychology is magic. Magic is psychology.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what I'm referring to is that when like hormones.
That's sex magic. That's sex magic. Okay, now look at it like this. I've told everybody here. It's like I've told everybody here. I've been freaking celibate now for what a good at least. Well, I know I was 8 years sober when I went celibate, and I sobered up in 2003. It's 2013 minus 8. No, 23 minus 8. Wow, that's
a long time.
Yeah. So at least 15 years I've been celibate. Now I can have conversations with women and actually get along with them, and the reason for that is because they know that they don't have to freaking worry about sex. It's not an issue. Okay, so they're more comfortable. But if somebody who's not celibate has a conversation with them, they feel that feeling where I got to watch what I have to say to them, because if I do, they're going to get the wrong idea.
And there's also the flip side of that. When you simply, when you're like me, you look at them, you don't give a damn.
Right.
They get thirsty.
Yeah, they get thirsty. That's the second part that I was going to mention, because that's what happens. All of a sudden, you become a person of interest because you're unobtainable, and you actually talk to them. Like you don't.
You gotta become unattainable. What do they call it? Unattainium.
Yeah, that's a new metal they put out. It's called unattainium. We wear it around our junk.
Yeah, I got a Prince Albert with one of those.
Florida, where you guys giggle out of that.
Okay, so this is spiraling downward really, really bad. Do you want to go ahead and end the show? Or you
Okay, but what I was referring to as well is that with each of the new things that they're coming out with, and is it able to enhance other things like medical, different types of medical, and wait for.
Now, I do. I before we end, I probably should mention this to you. I do have more information that we can do another show on. Now, a lot of this research also goes into corporations like or actually schools like the Monroe Institute. If you want to check out that, we could do another show on that later on, and that actually goes into a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. So, I mean, it's up to you, Robert. But I can pull notes up like we've done here, and we could have a show about the Monroe Institute.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right with the other two.
Have you guys heard of the Monroe Institute?
Yeah. I do some refresh on that.
How about you, V? V went dark. He got upset because we turned away his passes. He tried to do funny things to us.
I'm not going to comment.
No. I was talking to my wife.
Okay.
My wife.
Have you ever heard of the Monroe Institute?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be interested in coming back for another episode concerning the Monroe Institute?
That depends on when, because I need to let my phone charge up some more.
Well, not right now. I mean, but later on.
Sure.
Because now, this actually, the stuff that freaking I've been checking out for Robert has brought up a lot of different subjects, and it's weird because it all connects to some of the stuff that I've been doing too. So I'm actually kind of interested. I was hesitant about doing this telekinesis stuff because at first I was thinking, it was just a bunch of hoppycock, which a lot of it I still believe is. But then I started doing this stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, dude! This actually goes a lot deeper than I thought it did." So I'm game.
I'm just thinking. Thankfully, you didn't invite Mr. Robot on this one.
Oh well, Mr. Robot, he would.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
He would have mentioned freaking Atlantis or some shit. Everything ties to Atlantis in the kingdom of Mu.
Okay.
The great battle between Mu and Atlantis.
Well, fight telekinesis.
Well, see, according to him, Atlantis and Mu were at war with one another over the control of the human race, because the Atlanteans wanted to rule the humans, where the Mu, they wanted freaking the humans to be left alone. So there was a huge freaking battle between the two of them, where they used their extremely powerful freaking abilities against one another, and that's why Atlantis sunk.
I thought you were gonna say battering ram. I got my head out of the gutter. Extremely powerful battering rams. Sorry, I drifted off there. I'm going all Oscar Wilde on this episode too. Goodness
Yeah, you
gracious.
are. Shit.
Maybe I got a little sugar in my tank. I don't know.
We gotta go down to Key West and make a freaking statue for you. Set it up right there on the coast of freaking Cuba.
What was referring to
Sitting there holding freaking your arm over the side of freaking Oscar Wilde and V. No loving embrace.
Drinking martinis.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Hey, that's my drink now. Don't knock the martini. But at least I like them dirty. I like them dirty.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. When all this is going on, have anyone actually ever took a brain, the temperature of the human brain? Where
I haven't stuck a thermometer in my ear for a long time.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be 98.6 degrees. That's the optimal temperature our body works.
not the body, the mind. In the mind, it says that the temperature in the mind is 45. But when you are when you're
In the brain.
building up your brain, does the temperature rises with the activity?
Yeah. Brain activity. They do that with that's God, what the hell they call that? It's where they freaking put the sensors on your head, and then they measure the freaking frequencies according to color and temperature.
But the brain is it's more magnetic than it is electrical. So I don't know.
Yeah, but your brain is made out of like cholesterol.
No, it's made out of brain matter.
The materials they're saying.
Haven't you heard it?
Doula matter.
And it's supposed to hold the intensity of the signal going through a whole lot better.
Do you know if the brain was made out of cholesterol? Do you know how smart I would be right now?
Yeah. I swear, Robert.
300 pounds. Which is I mean, not to brag, it's probably not the right time to do that. But yes, I've dropped 50 pounds. I'm now 300 pounds.
Well, I'm talking about like the material. Like they said that the brain has to take and use that material to keep the material. That's how the brain grows, keeps it going.
I can pull that up on what the material is you're thinking about.
Okay.
What material is the brain made of? See if they answer it. To the surprise of many people, your brain is not solid like iron or firm like muscle. Physically, a living human brain feels very soft and squishy, similar to textures of soft tofu, gelatin, or cold butter. Chemically, structurally, the brain is made up of a mix of water, fats, proteins, and electrical wiring. Water, 75% to 80%. Fats and lipids, 10% to 12%. And proteins and carbohydrates, 8% to 10%. So we have living brain tissues, neurons, and glial cells. There you go.
What's a glial cell?
Glial cell is 86 billion cells. It cleans up biological waste and holds neurons in place. And that is let me come back up here. That is interesting. Let me, yeah, because they don't really get into that. Glial cells. I'll put a question mark next to it. If neurons are the rock stars of the brain that gets all the attention, glial cells are, or glia, are the massive backstage crew. Without them, the show cannot go on. The word glia actually comes from the Greek word of glue because early scientists thought these cells were just there to stick the brain together. Today we know they do much more.
Meat glue.
They are the doctors, trash collectors, security guards, and construction workers of your brain. There are four main types of glial cells in your brain, and each has a specific job. Astrocytes, the star shaped helpers, these cells look like tiny stars. They act as the brain's security guards and nutritionists. Feeding time, they attach themselves to your brain vessels to grab food, oxygen, and nutrients and feed them directly to the neurons.
And what parts do they do the thing of for telekinesis? I mean, it makes you wonder.
That would be the oligodendrochroatocytes, the wire
Okay.
insulators.
What about any of the others?
Well, actually, the trash collectors and the medics, the macroglia, might have something to do with it. The obligodendrocytes or the wire insulators, they're cells that wrap themselves around pathways like the protective rubber coating on an electrical extension cord, basically. And they have a fatty coating called myelin, which speeds up your thoughts. So without it, electrical signals crawling slowly end up crawling slowly through the brain. So you'd think slower.
Okay.
So that would be what that is.
Medulla oblongata. You're wrong.
Yeah, this is not talking about my mom. And,
Yeah, well,
my mom
I
said.
like
My
that movie.
mama said.
that's not what my mama said. My mama said. Okay, so Robert, we better end this, dude. You, it's getting out of control. You want me to go ahead and do the ending?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so and that brings us to the end of tonight's journey into the unknown. We've explored some interesting questions tonight. We've considered some possibilities, and hopefully we've given you something to think about after the show is over. Not every question has an answer. Not every mystery has been solved. And sometimes the most interesting part is simply asking the question. We'd like to thank everyone who took time to join us tonight, whether you're watching live or catching the replay. From Robert and everyone here, thank you for being with us. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep looking for answers, and never be afraid to explore the unknown. I'm Roger Hanson, and this has been The Unknown. Good night, everyone. And there we go. It is done. That was an interesting show.
Yeah.
My wife wants to know if any of you are gay.
Why is she asking?
Well, she asked me, is anybody else married? And I said, amongst my podcast circle, I'm the only married one. And so she wanted to know if any of you are gay. this is the usual woman question, line of question.
That's what a Polish blonde woman would ask.
I said Mark might be, but I think he's just British. I can never tell.
British. I'm just British.
My gaydar goes woo when I get around British people. So who knows?
He's got a gaydar. Did you hear that shit?
I
Like he's got a gaydar and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is this dude got a gaydar for?
I just love making fun of British people. What can I say?
No, you just literally said you have a gaydar.
I do.
You got a gaydar. And you just
Gaydar.
like,
Oh, you'll admit to it, huh?
Dude, you gotta be able to find the gays, all right? Because
you know what I figured out though.
But
you know what I figured out.
You gotta be able to find the gays because I got.
We just did.
I listen. Gays have what's called Gays have what's called fag hags. Okay.
Well,
They
guess what?
have these huge groups of women that hang around them, and they're like bait, just like going fishing, and you just pick whatever woman you want off of the group.
No,
It's so easy.
let me point this out. And I mentioned this to
Yeah.
Otto too. As a single guy, you know what I've noticed?
What?
It's hard to tell if a person is gay or if they're just married. As a single guy, it's really hard because like a married man is just as thirsty for men as what freaking gay men are. Dude.
I want to hang out with my homeboys. You're right.
They get so saturated in that whole married life, dude, that they're like, man, I want to go hang out with my best friend. He disappeared like 20 years ago, but I'm still thinking of him.
Dude, but the thing is, why I'm so happy to join your video game streams, I'm so mad at myself because you watch Gang Grumps, you watch Oni plays, you watch these guys who play video games for a living and joke around. Me and my friends used to do that, and we're 10 times funnier than all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the early 2000s, the late 90s, I'm in my friend's gaming room playing games with them, and we're just joking with each other for hours.
Yep.
I could have been making money doing that today.
Well, you know what's the weird part is it's like after you left the other night and I was playing Far Cry.
Yeah.
I got this guy jumped in the game, man, was co-oping with me. We were playing together.
Oh, that would have been fun had I stayed. Extra fun.
It was cool. It was cool as hell, and you don't get too many chances to co-op with people. So,
right.
Like, if you guys ever get a chance to get that game, man, get it, and then just hit me up.
I believe I have it. I just got to. I'm waiting next month to get my TV back.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I might get it back later this week. I don't know. I've had some money expenditures that I wasn't planning on, spending, and so I've mishandled money this month. So I'm kind of broke.
Yeah.
Which is why I was donating plasma yesterday.
You got all freaking dizzy in the head and almost hurt yourself.
Well, I got a little tired, and so I just laid down and I didn't hear my phone. I would have joined you guys last night, but I just didn't hear my phone. I slept all night.
Just to put it out there, I have made a song for Naroki called Naroki at the Blood Bank. So if anybody wants to check that out. And then I made another song for freaking V. It's called Hands Off the Cock.
Hands off the cock.
Yeah.
So that's
that was an old one now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually older now. I'm gonna have to do another one.
Well, you should have had me at the blood bank. I'm the one donating.
Well, the thing of it was it's hard finding good names to put on a song for V because like I had to say freaking hands off the cock, and I kept trying to name it, and I mean it's pretty bad when Suno says freaking no, that's inappropriate. We cannot do it.
John Henry's hammer.
No, I was gonna name it V's Big Black Cock. So, but it was like, no, we can't do that, because I mean the song was even about like freaking well, what it is hands off the cock. This big black cock is coming up on the back of a truck to a farm, and all the blondes are lining up on the fence line waiting for him, Because chickens have you have the cock and then you have the blondes. That's what the song's about. You know what I mean? And it's like they just took it way out of proportion, like it wasn't good.
Well, I tell you what, my little blondie, she can't keep her hands off me.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have to bat her away just to have some peace.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So we've got the video recorded, Robert. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Everybody's being recorded right now, so
Oh snap!
we got like an after show for everybody to enjoy how we talk behind the scenes.
Well, if you're gaming tonight, let me know.
All right,
because I would definitely like to join in.
Now I actually did start doing Halo Master Chief's collection. If you got that,
I have that. Yes, I do.
Okay.
So what I think I'm gonna do Monday, I'm gonna go. Okay, I gotta go pay a retainer for my TV, and yeah. So the following week, the following couple days, I'm gonna get my TV. I'm gonna figure out where to put it in my new room. I don't know how I'm gonna use it.